now that you've seen my Pleasantville, Kentucky video, I think you guys realize that this was kind of like a fantasy, right? What I would like my life as a flatbed trucker to be like, you know. It would be nice if once in a while people, you know, appreciated you, but the reality is a bit different. And now I'm gonna describe to you what actually my visit was like to that plant. Well, first of all, I had to get there from I-65, right, and it's all two-lane highways, and I did not know that it was best to go around like I returned, you know, the same way that I showed you guys how I was coming back. I think it's Highway 163 when you go back, 163 to 90 west, and that takes you right to I-65 north when you go, you know, north towards Louisville. But I did not know that, so and I just followed my GPS, and going south it took me on 63 and then some like 3-digit highways, you know, one of those 869 or something like that. And of course with two-lane highways, normally the more numbers you have, the more digits in the name, the worse the road is. Like the best roads are usually like, you know, 90 or 20 or 60 or 50, you know, that's always a better highway than, let's say, 520 or 630, you know what I mean? And I go there and the road goes like this, you know, and I'm driving empty, right? Usually it's like a walk in the park, and I'm thinking, wait a second, if it's this hard driving empty, you know, not oversized, not overweight, anything, like how am I gonna drive here with a load, and that the one that sticks on both sides, you know? And I really had to focus, you know, to concentrate, because there was no shoulder, you know, the same line goes right on the edge of the pavement, and the road goes like this, and the signs posted saying, you know, like at one point it was 45 miles per hour, then they started dropping 30, 20. The worst band I saw was like 15, marked safe speed 15 miles per hour. But anyway, I go there, I arrive, of course there's no band, and the sign says inside, I found the plan, the sign says shipping, receiving. Okay, I go there, some guy sits there with paperwork. I said, hi, I'm a driver with this company, who do I talk to about picking up my load? And he says, oh, go there, there's a guy on the forklift there. I said, well, there's a sign outside that says shipping and receiving. Do I talk to, you know, first to someone who deals with paperwork? Because normally that's how it is at big places. There's, let's say, a lady sitting in the shipping office, right? And she has nothing to do with the guy who actually loads you, you know? Like, usually there's like 2 people at least, right? One deals with the paperwork, one deals with the actual loading. This guy says, no, it's all that guy, he does everything. Okay, I go there and he's moving something, some electric motors on the ground, like rearranging them. And I'm already, you know, breaking the schedule of his day, so he's not happy to see me. You can see from his face. So finally he stops his forklift because I'm just standing there next to him, you know, waiting. Okay, what do you got? You know, and of course he has that nice Kentucky accent, you know, if you're into accents, but actually it's a funny accent. But anyway, so I tell him, hey, I'm picking up this batch house platform. And he looks at my paper and he says, oh, it's been shipped. I don't think we have it anymore. So what are you talking about? Like, it's in the paperwork, it's I have the load confirmation, I have the bill of lading number here. Okay, I'm gonna look around to see what else we got for that customer. So it turns out it's kind of like a multiple shipment load. The customer ordered 20 trucks, and I later, actually today, I found out I'm truck 7. So they have a whole bunch of stuff, like inside the yard they make these, it's kind of like a big welding place, you know. They make all these, what you saw in my truck, like, you know, parts of platforms and ladders and stuff like that. So they have a whole bunch of stuff going to the same place in Dundas, Ontario, Hamilton. And I said, shall I wait in the truck then? And he says, well, yeah, do what you want to do, you know, sit in the truck or go have some coffee. Basically, I don't care. That's his attitude, you know. Okay, I go sit inside the truck. I check my, you know, the email works. I check my email. Probably like half an hour goes by, and then this guy, and they drive around on golf carts. It's a big plant, you know. And he stopped by, and he's like, all, you know, not happy, you know. Okay, back your truck. So I said, you found something? Oh yeah. He says, and he says, you said you ordered permits up to 10 feet, and I said, yeah, because actually that's when I was not happy either, because if this was already shipped, you know, why did they order permits? Because normally, especially in Ontario, they take a long time, right? So you order them at least the day before when you load, but that's what happens many times, you know, when you order permits before you load, something is wrong all the time. Either the load is not there, or they give you wrong dimensions. But this time the guy says, yeah, like, you know, 10 feet. Are you sure? Yeah, okay, so that's why I ordered the permits. Now this guy says the thing is gone, and he's telling me, I'll give you something 9 feet wide. Okay, so of course my permits are good, but if I ordered the permits for a 9 foot wide load, probably I could have, you know, saved some money. But anyway, so I back around, I turn around, flip the truck and park where he's telling me to park. And he starts loading. I use my timbers, and everything goes okay. But then, like 15 minutes or 20 minutes later, his phone rings, and because he's the only guy that deals with the entire shipping process, you know, like paperwork and everything, and probably his customers are calling him too. So imagine a guy is trying to do, like, I don't know, 10 jobs at once. So I understand why he's not happy. Especially then I looked at the invoice, you know, like they also gave me the invoice for the customer. And that's not a customs invoice, it's the actual, you know, invoice where the customer, where I'm taking the stuff, has to pay them for what already been done, and it's like $1 million, you know. So this guy probably makes like $10 an hour, so, you know, and all these papers are going through his hands, so he can see the amount of money involved. But, you know, it's like working at McDonald's when you know that they just serve like 50 billions burger, you know. So I'm not saying anything bad about this guy, but so his phone rings and he's on the phone for like 10 minutes, you know. Then he comes back, and of course he parks his truck, right? Then he comes back and he starts, you know, doing the same thing, like loading more stuff on me. And then his phone rings again, and again he stops for like 10 minutes, like, and it happens every like 10-15 minutes. Basically he doesn't care about me as trucker, right? So I'm just there to load, right? And I'm just walking around because I cannot secure stuff, right? Well, he's busy. He didn't tell me what can I at least put my straps over the front of the load, right? That's where he put the oversized parts, right? So finally, when I'm sick and tired of him being on the phone all the time, I don't say anything. I just go get my straps, because I climbed on the top and I see that those 9 foot wide pieces, they have a metal band around them. So I figured, and there's a empty space in between them, because these are just frames, right? There's not solid surface. So, you know, I put on my thinking cap and I figured that, you know, if there's a metal band and there's air there, it's empty space, and the metal band is just flimsy piece of metal, to me that's saying that they're not gonna put anything else on the top, because otherwise that other piece would be sitting on that metal band, it'll break, right? So that wouldn't make sense. So I decided that was the entire thing, over with thing I got, because the rest were just ladders and stuff like that. So I started putting my straps on, and the guy's still on the phone. And of course these are, like I say in the video, that this is perfect load, but in fact this was difficult to secure, because of course first you have sharp edges on the front on this over wide part. So when you put 3 straps, it's not like you throw over straps and you hook them up on the other side, and then you put them in the winch and you tighten the winch. You have to go there and put edge protectors, otherwise the straps will be torn and the load will be loose, right? So there's 6 edge protectors, and you cannot just throw them like this, right? You have to actually insert them under the strap on each side. So all I'm saying is that it does take some time. So I do all that, I secure my straps, and finally the guy is off the phone. So he comes back, and guess what? And he's not just driving in his empty forklift. He has more over width pieces, you know, 9 feet wide, and he parked his forklift right next to the front of my trailer, where I already put the straps on. And I'm just standing near the back, and I'm like thinking, Jesus, you know, like. So, and he starts, he looks at me and I say, don't put it down. And his forklift is like 20 years old. You cannot hear yourself talk, and you cannot hear anybody else talk. So he switches the engine off, and I say, don't put it down. And he's like, what? I said, do you see my straps? I already put straps on. You didn't tell me you were on the phone. Can you please make up your mind? And I might have used a slightly stronger expression than please make up your mind, you know. So the guy starts screaming at me, you know, oh, you Landstar drivers, you're the worst, you know, first you come here and you, as if everybody's owes you something, you know, you, with your papers, basically starts saying some, you know, some stuff. Like I said, it's because he's probably getting like minimum wage, you know, in a big place. But anyway, so we just, you know, spar a little bit, you know, some verbal abuse. But not too much, because I'm there and he's, you know, he's the guy loading me, right? So I didn't, that was the only thing I said. I said, can you make up your mind, you know, like, what are you gonna load? Oh, you Landstar drivers, oh, if you don't like this load, I'm gonna take it off. So I wanted to tell him that I'm okay with the load, I don't like the shipper. But naturally, I kept it to myself. So he says, yeah, if you don't like it, I can take it off, you know, much quicker than I put it on. So how do you argue with that? You know, I already did 200 miles empty coming there, right? And what I'm gonna do there? Sit there, plus I already took cash advance against that trip. So now if I don't load, and of course my natural inclination is basically say, screw this, you know, take it off and I'll go find something else. But, you know, that would be childish and I would lose money. I would have to give money back, all that cash advance, but that's what the guy wants, you know. So of course I'm just saying, you know, try to pacify him, you know. So it doesn't, so far it doesn't exactly look like that Pleasantville video, does it? But anyway, so then the guy comes down, I take the straps off, take the edge protectors off, you know, I climb around, and then he puts those pieces on, and we keep working with that. There's some broken wood, I put more timber, but anyway, so finally we're done, and then I secure everything. And I say, where's my paperwork? And I cannot find any paperwork. And they say, oh, the guy is gone for lunch. So okay, there's another half an hour waiting in the truck till he comes back from lunch. And then I get my paperwork, and I say, and he says, you have a sticker? And I say, what sticker? He says, well, a sticker for the border. And I say, well, Canada does not recognize parts stickers anymore. You have to do, I'll have to do my electronic manifest. So it's okay. But basically he was actually being helpful. He says, I see he has a fax machine. He was gonna fax everything from there to the broker, you know. So that's one good thing about the entire loading experience. But I said, no, I cannot use a sticker. Landstar said, no part stickers. We just have to use the electronic manifest. My agent, my dispatch will send me a manifest. And the guy just shrugs and says, well, suit yourself. Everybody else uses stickers. You know, like I'm an idiot, you know. Like as if I came up with the idea. Like I would rather use stickers, you know. By the way, in case you ever wonder, where's my stickers here? Yeah, that's what we used before. Here was a little sticker like this, and it says PARS, and then there's a number, Landstar Inway, and all you do is just you take this off, you know, like peel it off like this. It was actually fun working with them because they have this glue on the back, right? So you peel it off, and then you just slap it on your customs invoice, and you write your truck number, trailer number, where you cross, your ETA, you know, estimated time of arrival at the border, and your cell phone in case they have any problems, and you just fax it to the customs broker, you know. It was much easier, but now it's a two-step procedure. First I have to get the electronic manifest, like a cover sheet, 1 page from my agent, and then I have to add that to the customs invoice and email or fax it to the customs broker, because the customs broker cannot generate the manifest, at least not for us. But anyway, so, but the guy does say that everybody else still uses these, right? And I just talked to a friend of mine who works for Quality Carriers pulling a tanker, and now it's April, he said the same thing. They're still using these PARS stickers even though they're not supposed to be legal anymore. So I said, what the heck? I mean, I said to myself, so I told the guy, you know, wait a second, I have some stickers in my truck, I'll go get them. Okay, I don't care. Alright, so I'll go in, find the stickers, put them on, and he faxes everything. And then I start driving, and yeah, yesterday, so I ended up in Walton, Kentucky, flying J there at the junction of 71 and 75. No problems whatsoever. So my permits are there, Michigan oversized permits. I printed them out in the truck using my printer and my internet connection. So Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio. And the trick was, this was still where? This was still Kentucky, right? And Walton, Kentucky. And the trick was that just south of Cincinnati, there were a couple of counties where I cannot drive from 7 to 9, no matter how wide my load is. Even like 2 inches stick out on each side, like on my load, because mine is just 9 feet, probably 9 feet wide. I cannot drive there from 7 to 9, so that's why today I set my alarm clock for like 5:45, because I checked online that the sunrise was at 6:45, and I'm allowed to drive, to start driving half an hour earlier. So I was, you know, aiming to start driving at 6:15, and usually that's what I need. I need like half an hour, you know, to get going. And when I start driving, everything's fine. You know, I fly through Cincinnati on 275, and now I'm in North Baltimore, Ohio. This is a Petro, and this was set up in my permit as you know, legitimate stopping point, because in Ohio you have to tell them when you order the permits, you have to tell them where you're gonna stop. So this is my first stop of the day. You know, I started driving in Walton, Kentucky, so this was like 4 hours. And I stopped here, and I decided to call the customs broker and find out the status of my, you know, parts shipment. And I call them, and the lady says, "Oh, it's a multiple load. You know, you cannot clear it like this, you know, pre-processing, like what most loads are the way most loads are done. You actually have to come to our office on the Canadian side when you cross the border." And I look at the paperwork, and it says that these guys are located in Sarnia, Ontario. And to get to Sarnia, you have to cross from US over the Blue Water Bridge from Port Huron, Michigan. Whereas all my paperwork and all my permits, oversized permits, specify Detroit, Michigan, because that's where I told them I would go, you know, I-75, because that's the closest, the shortest route and the fastest. Normally I don't like crossing in Detroit, but you know, because I'm already here, I'm coming from Ohio, you know, from Cincinnati, you know, I wouldn't want to go to Sarnia. So I ordered my permits like I-75 to Detroit, and Ambassador Bridge, and then 401, 403 into Ontario. And now of course my permits are not good anymore. Like, I was thinking of, you know, sneaking in somehow, but that's what is it, probably 50 miles. If I have to go to Port Huron, I have to pass Detroit, and as soon as I pass Detroit, I no longer have a valid my route. You know what I mean? That's risky. I don't want to get any tickets. And actually, oh, and my Ontario permit is still not here. Can you believe this? This is Friday. I ordered them on Wednesday, and I cannot cross into Canada anyway. So it would probably have arrived sometime today, but for some reason it's been taking them too long. But now I just learned that I have to be in the office in person, and the only crossing I can use is the Blue Water Bridge crossing between Port Huron, Michigan and Sarnia, Ontario. So that's talking about reality, what actually happens in trucking. You see, like, there's no carpet, there's no caviar, nothing. Like, no one cares about your time, and no one cares about you many times, you know, and they feel that they're doing you a favor by loading you, you know. I don't know, but anyway, so now, yeah, now it's Friday, and I don't want to break any rules, because as you might notice from my previous videos, I'm Mr. Safety, right? I'm not wearing my hard hat now, but you know, you get the idea. So now I just called ComData and I asked them to amend my permits, right? So my Michigan permit is still valid, I can enter Michigan. From here it's probably, I think, like 40 miles to the end of Ohio on I-75, and then it's Michigan. But my Ohio permit is good, and my Michigan is good up to Detroit, right? So I figure I'll just stop in Monroe, Michigan, the TA truck stop there. And that's what I told the Comdata girl. I said, you know, let's get the new permit starting in Monroe. And I gave her the address of the TA truck stop that I pulled off the travelcentersofamerica.com, where they have locations. And so my new permit will start from Monroe, Michigan, go north on I-75 all the way to Port Huron. And then the Ontario permit, we have to cancel that one, or actually, I don't know, or they do amendment or something. But instead of going 401 all the way from Windsor, from Detroit, I'll be going on 402 from Sarnia, and then 401, and then 403. Which again, you know, I cannot you know, risk any more tickets, because there's a scale inspection station right there. You know, after Sarnia, on all these main highways, there's a scale right next to the border. You know, like 5-10 minutes out. So I cannot run the risk of driving with, you know, wrong paperwork, and especially since I have to go into each scale, right? Even if I have a pre-pass on top of my window, that's a pre-pass, right? So this thing, if that light over there, top light is green, bottom light is red. So even if it says, even if it blinks green and beeps in a pleasant way, I still have to go in if the scale is open, because I'm oversized, right? So I cannot risk that. So, and and the another bad news is that the Michigan permit can take up to 13 hours to get approved. And now it's 12 o'clock on Friday, and the Michigan oversized department is closed on the weekends, you know. So I'm just telling you like it is, you know, like what it's really like to be a trucker. I mean, I like it. I wouldn't be doing anything else. It's just like, as I noted in my previous vids, it became less fun in like recent years, because I've been pretty much everywhere, and it's the same BS, you know, day in, day out. But I cannot sit in an office anyway, so I have to move all the time. So maybe I should be in sales somewhere, you know, where you meet with people, drive your Mazda around, you know, make some money, and where you can use gas, not diesel. But anyway, so now it's Friday, right? I thought I'd be driving over, and from here it's only 4 hours to my home in Ontario, my home base, right? But my permit is no longer valid for the water bridge, right? And the chances are that the Michigan permit will be in my hands only on Monday. I'm not even talking about the Ontario, because Ontario takes normally 48 hours, right? As like I mentioned, I still haven't gotten a response from my Wednesday order, and now it's Friday, and now we amended that. So I have no idea what's gonna happen, but chances are I'll probably spend the weekend here in Monroe, Michigan. You know, like I wrote in the email to my agent, walking around a dirty truck stop instead of drinking beer at my home. But I did send the email to the agent, and I said, please ask your customer to add $1,000 to the gross this load pays, because this is not my fault. You should have told me that I can only cross the border in the particular place in that Port Huron, Michigan, because I already ordered the permits, you know, I did all the paperwork. But these guys, you know, that's another problem in this industry, I think. It's because brokers don't make that much money on each load. Normally they make what, like 12, 13, 14, you know, 15%, you know. So if this load pays, let's say, $3,000, let's just say, for the, you know, for the example's sake, right? So 10% is $300, right? So okay, $400. It's not bad, but I mean, when the load takes like, you know, 3-4 days, you know, and that money is not actually going to the guy you talk to on the phone. That goes to the entire agency, like the agent he works for, right? Because a lot of these guys, they just work for the agent, Landstar agent. So the agent gets, let's say, $350, and then he probably gives, I don't know, maybe 50%, 60% to the sales guy who I talk to, like the dispatch, you know. And that's why they're not very motivated to pay attention, because for me this is what I do, right? This is the only load I'm moving right now, and this is basically my life now for like 2 days, but now it looks like it's gonna be like 5 days, I don't know, so of course I'm paying attention, but brokers, they have to juggle lots of loads at the same time, and I think they should be actually, no one likes them, but maybe if they were paid a bit better, and there was only one broker, maybe they would pay a bit more attention, and they would and then drivers can do a better job too, because now the person who's actually suffering in all this is the consignee, right? Because I could have been there today by 2 o'clock probably, if they would have loaded me faster, but it did take a lot of time there. First of all, they were not even sure what to put on my truck, right? Why? Because there's two brokers, like no one knows for sure what's going on, because there's too many links in this chain between the customer and the consignee and the shipper and brokers. So it's a very complicated transaction, just moving a load from point A to point B. And then of course there's customs, because the load goes across the border, so it can be a total nightmare, logistics wise, and and that's what the reality is. So now you can, if you're tired of watching this movie of the reality of trucking, you can go back and check that Pleasantville, Kentucky movie, and you'll see that I was actually trying to be funny when I was talking about those carpets and caviar and champagne and beautiful girls, because it never happens in real life. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more. Top Gun, the character played by the actor Tom Cruise, often requested doing a flyby after a successful mission. Well, my truck cannot fly, but it can drive still. So we're doing a drive-by. Western Star. This is the TA Truck Stop, Travel Centers of America, in Monroe, Michigan, I-75, exit 15. Oh, look at this, another Landstar, a very old Peterbilt, but still probably going strong. Oh, the bumper is all rusted. Recently I've been looking at these Mach trucks, actually. I know they're not very good, but the design, like how they look, like the front, the bumper and the grill and the radiator, they're pretty aerodynamic, They look much better than my truck. Another Landstar on the right, very old Volvo, kind of the same one, the same type. I started driving back in 2005. Now, why don't we park next to that gorgeous Western Star, orange in color? Look at the sleeper on that thing. What is that? 10 feet? I don't know. On second thought, I am oversized, so. And the guy next to that Western Star is a reefer. So, I don't like that. Because I might have to sit here till Monday, and that's it. So that's all I did today. Just what, like 5 hours of driving? but you never know. Now I'm gonna, it's 1:22 p.m. now, so it's been almost 2 hours after I reordered the permits for Michigan and Ontario. So you never know, maybe they, because they just amended them, right? The actual permit was already there, so maybe it is in my email. And that's the end of day 2. I don't know, for some reason lately all my trips are longer than 1 day, even when they're 500 or 600 miles. But today this is not my fault, not because I didn't want to drive, but like I mentioned before, it's all because of screwed up paperwork, specifically customs. Well, at least the weather's nice. I'm gonna go for a walk, maybe grab some coffee. There's a Pilot across the street. I like their coffee better, and they have, I think they have a McDonald's with free Wi-Fi. I'll go check my email, see what's what.